Hey, this is Richard Miller with Goldie May, and this is the Unrehearsed Research series. Watch as James Tanner and I, along with invited guests, work through a genealogy problem with no script and no agenda. You might learn from the big strategy or from features in the tools, or if you see a better way to do it, please leave a comment so we can all learn. Now, on to the research. Welcome to another episode of Unrehearsed Genealogy Research. I'm here with James Tanner. Glad to welcome him back today. How are you doing, James?
Great.
Good.
We're ready to go.
All right. Well, I wanted to look again at Josephine, and she is among some of the ancestors we've looked at a few times. And on the Goldie May YouTube channel, I've created playlists for some of the ancestors we've done repeatedly, and so I'll add her to the playlist as we go. But that's how you can follow along on the episodes about a given person. So Josephine is my third great grandmother. She died in Provo, where we are, but came from Denmark. So we looked previously at her having 9 children mentioned in the census, but the tree only shows 8. So one of the things we want to work on is seeing if we can find that 9th child or mention of that child. And part of it's kind of tied up in the fact that there's some ambiguity about when exactly she came to Utah. And, so we want to kind of firm up when was her immigration date, if we can, and then jump back over the pond to Denmark and see if we can kind of firm up who and where the family is back there. So, that's it. I'll leave it to you, James, to take it away.
Okay, well, I think the first thing we should do is I have to do a little bit of review because this isn't one that I work on all the time.
Yeah.
But we need to look at the sources. I'm just interested in a couple of types of sources, so we're not going to go through all the rest of them. Basically, if it says Josephine's record, like Denmark church record, that first one is going to be her record if that's what it is.
If it's really her. Yeah.
So this is really her, and she is in Trinitatis in 1845. Okay, and that's the church record, so that's a christening record. Okay, that's the first thing we need to know. And then let's go back. So she was obviously there when she was born. That's kind of the simplest thing you could possibly say. Let's look down to another one that's like one of the later ones that says 1484 to 1941, Denmark church record. That might be a marriage record above 1859, confirmed. And these are some of the records that I think are less looked at. They help to confirm who the person is and where they are. But this one, she's actually now in a church in Copenhagen. And that indicates that, one thing that may not be obvious is that the place where she was christened may be Copenhagen. It was just part of the city.
Okay. Yep.
And the city, what's happened in Denmark is that there were some counties, if you want to look at it from that standpoint, that were consolidated all into Copenhagen when it grew into a big city.
Oh, okay.
They made it their own. They made it its own county in a sense, because that's why it says Copenhagen, or
okay.
Copenhagen, or Copenhagen, if you want to be.
Yeah, you're
more of a purist on that.
Yes.
But basically, that's what happens there. I don't think there's any. It's not a question we need to review today. So I'm just kind of commenting on that.
Okay.
So let's go down a little bit again and look and see what we've got. Let's look at the children's list. Each of the
Back
children
here.
as we go down. Yeah. Let's look at her children and just really see who's the first one born in the United States, if there are any.
Okay, so
the first one born in the United States is born in 1882. The previous one, Arthur John, is born in Copenhagen in 78. So sometime between 78 and 82. So we want to look at that. Let's go back and see if you have the 1870 and 1880 U.S. Census records.
Yeah, no 70.
There's an Denmark census in 1880, which, uh, okay, so the question is, if she's still in Denmark in 1880, let's go back and just double check where we were with the kids.
Yeah, so 78, and then she could be in Denmark in 80, and then 82.
Okay, so that narrows that down between 80 and 82.
Yeah.
So she arrived in America sometime between 1880 and 1882.
Hmm.
So she would not have appeared in the 1880 census in the United States, and unfortunately, there isn't an 1890 census. So let's see if there's a record of her coming to Utah. She's
Okay.
not a pioneer, because if she got in Utah in the 1880s, she's well beyond what we consider to be the pioneer era.
Okay. As far as immigration
Yeah,
dates here, there's a couple on the tree that must have come from other records. And
yeah. Let's look at that. Well, what is it?
go back.
Doesn't say what it
Yeah, I
was.
didn't. And I added those without mentioning that. Those must have come from, I'm assuming, from census records that
Let's go down and see.
mentioned. Yeah.
Here's the 1900 census. Let's go
Hmm.
look and see if somebody got naturalized. That's not going to
Okay.
come up on your list. You have to look at the actual new record, the picture.
Okay.
Yeah. And then go to go to her family.
Okay. Christian and Josephine. And they are
Denmark.
from
Keep going. There
Denmark.
it is. Okay, he was naturalized in 83.
Okay.
And she came over. It says she came over in 84. So that. Okay, let's go back to the children, because I thought
Yeah.
that guy was
I,
born in Salt Lake before 84. Maybe he was born in 84.
yeah, that's right. I thought it was 82 and he was
Yeah,
Salt
no,
Lake
that says he's in
82.
82. There's a contradiction here, because that says she
Yeah.
was immigrant in 84.
And that column, just to confirm, is immigration or naturalization?
Immigration,
Okay. Yeah.
year of immigration
And
to the
then
U.
naturalization's two over.
Natural just marks if it's either AL for alien or NA for naturalization.
Okay.
But see, back in those days, there's different time periods, but generally, if the wife doesn't ever show up as being naturalized, it's because they were automatically became citizens when the husband was
Oh,
naturalized.
okay. So they don't
But that
mention it.
stopped sometime in the 1900s. The 20s come to mind.
Okay.
1920s when that stopped, and people were unable to marry to someone in the United States and instantly become a citizen, or have citizenship automatically for a wife when the husband was naturalized.
Okay.
So that's sort of the way it was. Back then, it really didn't matter because they didn't have the right to vote anyway. So
Okay.
women didn't get the right to vote until later.
And then interestingly, the son is an alien. So he's not automatic, but he's looks like he came at the same time as his mother and did not naturalize and is not automatic
Well,
with his father.
yeah, that
Such,
one of those two dates obviously has to be wrong,
yeah.
because that's not possible that he was born in the United States before she got here. So
And see, and that's referring to Arthur, and that's our
no, that's the
Arthur. But
Carl.
where's our Carl? Carl's an infant, died at birth,
Oh,
died
he
as an
died at
infant.
birth in 82, but he didn't
Yeah.
die in Salt
But
Lake.
yeah.
Let's look at the sources for him.
Okay.
That'd be I'm kind of interested in seeing what they deaths and burials. Yeah, he's buried in Salt Lake.
Yeah. William and Josephine. And now, okay, tell me how common of a name is William and Josephine Cook in Utah,
Mm-hmm.
1800s.
Yeah, for the parents.
Hmm.
Well, there's one of your mysteries.
There's a mystery. Okay.
determining what information is correct. It wouldn't necessarily be totally accurate in on the U.S. Census record,
Okay,
but a,
good
a
point.
death record is a lot more accurate, possibility of being accurate.
And we could check these 1910 and 20 ones as well.
Yeah, let's see what they say when they came.
1910. Okay. 18 years, year of immigration to the United States, 1879. Naturalized. Okay.
Is this the same family?
C.W. Cook and Josephine.
Wow. Okay, well, okay, so you've got dates all over the place here. That would make more sense.
It
But
fit better, yeah.
that raises another issue. Go back to the children and look at the one before the guy who was that Arthur John.
So we're still okay on that. On a 79 immigration, it looks like we're okay.
He's born in 78. They come in at 79. That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So that
And
probably
then,
sorts it out. That's probably correct. And the other one is incorrect.
okay. In 1920, did that mention?
No, yeah. Oh, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. It's on there well, it's a different place. It's right there. You just passed it.
Pass it. 1880. Yeah, Josephine, mother-in-law, 1880, naturalized, and this would be 1896 as her naturalization?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And now knowing that's another, because the year of that naturalization is helpful. Up until 1906, all naturalizations were done in the state courts, and the information that they obtained is rather spotty. And so basically, so we're going to look in a couple of places that would be helpful to clarify all this. So let's go back. I don't want to make sure I'm copying over what's already in the source list. So let's go back and I just want to buzz down through the sources and see.
Oh, just through here. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. And see what.
Make sure it's not already there.
Things it got. Okay. Yeah. See, you're missing lots of records.
Yeah.
that could be helpful in clarifying all of this. One of which would be a probate record for
for her husband.
Yeah.
For Christian
Wilhelm. William.
And we could check, maybe we ought to check his source list too, just to see if he has something that she doesn't have.
Yeah. Let's see. This is the church records, the marriage. Church, census, Utah burial cemetery. Yeah. See this. Okay. So no criticism intended. This is just observation because this is a common step that people get to. This is the where they get the same 4 or 5 sets of records, period. It's enough that people are satisfied that they have like birth, death, and marriage information. And here you don't, but it's now it's
that type though.
Yeah, it's close. But so those are the ones that they look at, which of course are census records, marriage and birth and death records, and sometimes burial records. Okay, so you're into the BMD, it's called birth.
Yeah.
The BMD set and the cemetery set. And those are, they're basic and they're fundamental, but when you start to get in and asking questions like, is there a missing child or is there something, then you have to really go past into the next layer of records out there. So let's go up. First of all, I think we'll check some church records here.
Okay.
That I don't see we have any reference to. So we'll go to Family Search, go to Search. Records is fine. And what we want to do is go to the list of records.
So okay, so you want to come down to here.
To browse all
Collections.
collections.
Yeah.
And then we want a collection title. We want family group record. Put family group. There we go.
Okay.
That's all we need. And that's the family group records collection. Okay. This is
Okay.
rather large.
5 million.
There's 5.3 million images in here. These are family group. This was in the family history library for people who go way back. It was the binders of the family group records, not necessarily ones submitted on any of the programs, but these are this. It was usually called the record archive, family group records archive collection, the archive collection. And so they digitized all these records so people who are maintaining their huge piles of old family group records should check in here real quick, and they may be able to get rid of at least that much of their pile.
Okay.
Because this is where
it ended up.
All those old records went up. So now
what does it mean that it's 1942 to 1969? But it is that when it was collected, but it includes data from before that? These are
the old records, the list. Now they're in alphabetical order. So look, we're going to have to look under C and under K because
might be both. All right, so it could be COOK.
So it's now between two letters. So we go down. There's Cook, and now we have to go down to William Cook. There's two William Cook ones.
So we're going to be Christian Cook in between.
Yeah. Let's see. It may be by his first name too. So
James Cook to John.
Yeah, there's no difference between Cook with an E and Cook without an E in this way they put them in there.
Oh, got it. Okay, so we're going to be up here then. So we're going to be
in that
before David Cook, Christian.
Yeah, we'll try that.
Okay.
So now you have 1,100.
Just 1,100. Okay.
To go through.
And we have some kind of, they're alphabetical here, maybe?
Not. Yes, they're alphabetical.
Within the, okay.
By surname.
Okay.
But just go to the small one.
So,
yes, because we know where it starts. Look at the multi-image, the little sprinkle of.
Oh, got it. Okay, yeah.
That's it. Okay, now what we do is I'm going to say jump down about, at least a couple of hundred, like 500 or something.
So you flick your mouse and then just
you don't
land
have
somewhere.
To do that. You just type in 500 in the number.
Okay. All right. Abraham Cook.
Abraham. Okay. Give another couple of hundred. So here's the strategy on going into these big sets of records is you go forward, jump, and then you see you're past it. Then you come back about halfway back, and then you see where you are, and then you go halfway forward, and then you go halfway back.
Okay, yeah. I've heard that called a binary search, right? You're cutting off half and half and half and half.
Yeah. Basically that's
Christopher. Getting close in. Okay.
That's the most efficient one. See, there's going to be a lot. There's just going to be
there's a lot.
100 or more of these Christopher Cooks.
Okay. And I'd already done 1,000. Oh, now I passed it. Let's see, Chester Cook. So we have, if these are in order, I think I've passed it. So we've got a Chester and then a Christopher. Yeah, but I didn't see a Christian in there.
Okay, so now
do we go to the K's?
They're kind of roughly in alphabetical order. I mean, in numerical date order, chronological order.
Well, do I need to go to the K's first since we don't see a Christian in?
Yeah.
Okay, so we go back to the K's. Okay.
It's like
and KOCK. Okay.
There, it's up a little ways. On the,
right there. And then if he's, is he? I think he's CH still. Okay, so we're Cook, right there, maybe.
It'd be between those. Yeah. So now you're going to go, just jump to the middle. Just put in like
600,
600 or 700, and see where we are.
Yeah, I need to go. I have to remind myself of how he spells his name here.
K-O-C-O,
Kock.
K-O-C-K.
Kock.
You can hit the right arrow or the left arrow and go
On
one.
those ones. Okay, yeah. Here's the Christian or
We're
Charles. I
close.
mean, getting
We're
close.
close. I think you're in the Cokes now.
Oh, with an H instead of a K.
Yeah, it's going to
Kock.
be further along.
Hey, there's a Cook with an H instead of a K.
I don't know if they've lumped them all together. It doesn't look like it because they're all H's.
Hmm.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Was his name misspelled? Is it Koch? These
I'd
are
have to go
all
back and
Russian.
check if that's.
No,
I'm sure
these
that's an
are all.
alternate spelling, but I'm not sure which one is the winner. Let's see. We're on 13.
These are all German.
Oh, you know what? Am I in the wrong group after all? Because we were Kock and I'm in like Koch. So I'm in here when I need to be in.
And it goes Koch, It'd be after.
Is that right? So there's a
no.
Kohler right after Cooker.
Kock. Yeah, it'd be in. No. There's no Koc.
Yeah, they don't have a place for that, do they? Kock. They jumped.
Look at that
from
Coker, the one that says Coker, and let's look at the last letter and see if that's
Okay.
probably the last one. Just go to 1531. See what the last entry is.
Yeah, Stephen Coker.
They don't spell it with a K.
Yeah.
It's not the original. Let's look at his record real quick.
Okay.
Okay, so this is, let me just kind of mention, this is really, really valuable because this is the kind of issues that you have to resolve. They do take time and they do take thinking about it, but we're doing something that's fairly simple, and that is we're trying to see how they originally submitted their names and what they were when they were, because if it was, let's look at the sources.
Okay.
We should have a yeah, there's a church record.
Yeah, sure enough, that first one's H. Yeah.
Spelled wrong.
Okay.
So
and then lots of H's.
You'd really need to change that. Later on, people spelled it that way. It should be recorded in the original entry with the way it is in the earliest record we have from the individual.
Okay.
That's a death record. It's a death record, but here we have a christening record, baptismal record. And he should be Koch because otherwise, like we just did, who's going to find him?
Well, this is one of those pioneer names that I'm sure a lot of people are watching, but I'll straighten my shoulders and make a change here.
Using original record. See, every one of the records over here is Koch.
Yeah, sure enough.
Until you get to the children. So they spelled it with
interesting.
a K.
And then where in the history is someone using Cook, the more anglicized version of that? I mean, when would they have used that? I guess well, people say like they come over.
Go to view family tree. Click on view tree, and then go to descendancy on the chart. There we go. See, Arthur John William Cook is the first one that's. So anybody that's his descendants used Cook.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Agnes is my ancestor, and she's using Cook. It looks like a lot of the other ones are just. I mean, they didn't make it to adulthood. They died in their infancy. So, yeah, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, almost all of them. There may be another child. The child you're looking for may be one more of these born in infancy, and that baby may not have been recorded.
Okay.
So there's, some possibility that the mother remembered it, but nobody really had a record of it.
Okay.
I would just summarize this. What we're looking at here is some of the procedures that need to be taken when you have an ancestor like this. Okay, let's suppose you have an ancestor where it looks like, there's lots of records, We know everything about this family. And all of a sudden we find out that there's all these little detailed kind of things that we haven't accounted for. And so when we went to look for, this is a good illustration of when we went to look for the for this record, we couldn't find it because there were no KOCKs. That's not a name that anybody started using. And then, so we basically would have had to have looked under Cook, COOK, or go to what was the original KOCH, which is another reason for not putting in names in the primary position of the naming field, the name field, where you're picking them up for later translations or whatever. It should be in the original language, in the original form that's shown on the earliest record.
Okay.
Because that's how it's going to be found. Otherwise, you're going to be like we were, sort of flailing around trying to find a family group record.
Okay.
Now, why were we looking for a family group record? Because that would be an earlier person who worked on it, someone who probably worked on this initially, and it could have been a member of the direct member of the family.
Okay, so a grandson, granddaughter of them,
or even a son or daughter.
Yeah. Okay.
Because these people lived, the ones who lived until the 60s.
Yeah.
Into the 60s. So they could have easily been the people who filled out these family group records, and we want to see what they said.
Okay. Interesting point. Yeah.
Because it obviously may have been changed in the interim because of whatever reason, people deciding they wanted their name to be Cook instead of Cook.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good lesson, James. I appreciate that.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. Talk to you again.